pulled up. We'll start out with, there's a quick explainer video that'll give a overview about us. But overall, we're a nonpartisan nonprofit all about building a voter-driven system of government, putting more power in the hands of voters. So I'll let this video give an intro, and then we'll go more into detail about the resources on our website. All right.
Ever wish you could tell your legislators exactly how to vote? Well, now you can. And it's right in the palm of your hands. Introducing the Digital Democracy Project, a mobile voting app and online tracking system, connecting you to the process, giving you the power. You vote on pending bills, on issues that affect us all, every day, telling legislators how you want them to vote. There's no party politics, no big money, and no special interests. We only compare what voters want to what legislators actually deliver, and everybody can see it. Your representatives, the media, everybody, all from your phone. Plus, it's absolutely free. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. You vote on the same bills as your representatives. We track it online in real time, a running tally. Then we take score. We add up every vote on every issue and we post it. You can see if they have voted with or against the majority. And come election time, now you know the score. It's powered by blockchain technology, keeping you secure. And with ID verification, it guarantees that all votes are real votes by real human voters. And don't worry, we never store, share, or monetize your data. And we never will. We're just putting the power where it belongs, right in your hands. So join us. We have the technology. You have the power. The Digital Democracy Project. This is what democracy looks like.
All right. So yeah, as the video mentioned, how it works overall, individual voters submit their votes through the Votes mobile voting app, and now it's an option to submit your votes through their web app as well. And then all the results get relayed to our website, so anyone's able to come on here and view the results for what voters want. So I'll start out with the resources on our website, and then we'll jump back into the app, the web app, before we get into the bills. So on our tally page here, this is where we post all the live bills that are going on for like the current session that voters are still able to vote on. So for some background too, we started in 2023. We were doing state legislation for Florida, statewide for any Florida voter to weigh in on. And then 2024 added in federal bills, and 2025 launched nationwide. So any U.S. voter can now add their votes in on federal bills. So there's about 70 or so federal bills in here now. And then we'll continue adding more bills in throughout 2026. And then we'll be doing state legislation for Florida, and we'll be adding in a couple other states this year too for the first time. So tonight we'll focus mostly on Florida legislation, but I'll quickly show you the resources that are on the tally map. These are on here for every bill. So the Open States Plural link is the one that'll show like the status of the bill, the sponsors, co-sponsors, and any history or vote history. And I'll show some more examples on some of the other bills. And then another feature on here for each of the bills is the Kialo. That's where we'll provide some pros and cons, and where individual voters, you guys yourselves, can also go to the website and add in your own pros and cons about the bills. Or if you want to expand on like your yes or no vote, if you support or oppose the bill, you can kind of put more details on the Kialo page. And then there's also a link to the full bill text on here too. And so, yeah, there's about 70 or so federal bills. And then to see the Florida bills, you can select the Florida from the drop down. You can also see all the results, the breakdown for the congressional districts for the federal bills. But then if you select state bills up here, it'll switch over to the state house, state senate districts. And then I'll show you guys some of the bills that we've covered. We'll go more into detail towards the end. But let me start with, we'll do the employee protections one. So same idea here. You can select any of the bills. It'll pull up a summary of the bill, the vote results. You can see the raw totals, how many support and oppose, and the percentages. So for like Florida overall, there were 126 voters that supported this bill, 95%. That's quite a few. And yeah, the same links down here, that info is available. And then we'll also be loading bills. Right now we switched to, you can see the breakdown for each month, and then these will now be loaded as individual bills. So you'll see more bills popping up over time and then all throughout session. And then voters will be able to vote on all the Florida state 2026 bills until session's over. So this is kind of the first part, the tally map, where we're showing what the voters want. And this is also where legislators can come on. They can select their district, see what voters in their district want. And then the real power here for the voters, the more voters we get weighing in, we can kind of get that power numbers effect to have real influence as voters on our legislators. So the more voters weighing in, the more pressure we can put on legislators that they'll feel like they have to listen. So we're always working on scaling up, getting more voters, not only staying informed and engaged, but also having more influence that way. So the tally map's kind of the first part. And then after our legislators vote, we use the scorecards to compare for each bill. The first column will show if the majority of the voters supported or opposed the bill. So thumbs down if the majority opposed. And then the middle column shows how that legislator actually voted on the bill on the floor. So you can also go through and see their voting record. And then for each bill, we're comparing what the voters want to how the legislator voted to show how often they're matching. So like for this first bill, Immigration SB 2B from 2025, the state legislative session, the legislator no, the voters voted no, so he got a thumbs up for matching what the voters wanted. So really just trying to illustrate how often legislators are representing what their voters want. And then this proportion of how often they match is where this score comes from. So for reference, he's got one of the highest scores. And then these will continue updating as more bills come up for votes throughout session. And by the end of session, we'll have a full updated scorecard for all the bills throughout session. So that's the scorecard. And this is another point I want to make too. This is where the voters are the ones driving the accountability. So we're providing the technology for voters to evaluate their legislators. So the scorecards are all based on how the voters are voting. It's nothing our organization is doing to determine like if the bill's good or bad. It's up to the voters. And then, yeah, this is more so for voters at election time to be able to evaluate their legislators and hold them accountable if they don't like how they're voting. And then another feature on here probably gets the most attention, our bills view, bill scorecard. So this is where you can view all the bills that we've carried since 2023. And you can also sort by different topics or categories. And there is a feature here too where you can sort like from scores or alphabetize. So for tonight, we'll focus on Florida upcoming bills for 2026. And I'll scroll to the bottom for some of the older bills. But for each of these bills, let's do the state birds. So for the bills, it'll have that same summary, and then there's a link now to vote on the bill. It'll take you to our vote page, and then you can go through the web app. And then, this one actually goes straight to the votes web portal. So I'll show you how to vote once we get through some of these through this example. So for each of the bills, then to this bill status, it will show that open states plural link. That'll show the sponsors, the co-sponsors, status of the bill. So yeah, lots of co-sponsors on this one about the bird. And then you can also see the Kialo pros and cons. And then a newer feature, we have the organizational positions. So this will have like a impact statement kind of providing more more info, background about what a yes vote means, why organizations may support, and same for what a no vote means, why they may oppose. And then we're also doing a search to relay different organizations that have taken a stance on the bill. So you can see those that support and those that oppose. And then down here, you can see the map with the breakdowns. And so this one's more evenly split. We got 50 slim majority support changing the birds. And then down here's where it'll show the update for how the legislators voted, how it compared to what the voters wanted. And then we also have a vote bot here, which I definitely recommend. If you have questions about the bill, that's kind of a bot. You can ask different questions. It'll give you different responses, and you can continue to ask different things there. And then I will quickly pull up a bill from last session too, so I can show you kind of more about what the vote breakdown looks from the scorecard on the Bills View page. So this was HB 1205 from last session. If you guys were tracking legislation, you probably heard about this one. So yeah, down here, it's a little different than the individual legislator scorecards. It'll compare what the voters for each district wanted compared to their representative for their district. So it'll show like how often they're matching, and then this proportion over here is how often the legislators' votes matched what their voters wanted. And then that's where the score comes from, how often they're matching. So yeah, that's an example for once the bill gets voted on, how it'll look. And then we'll jump through some of these bills here in a second. I do want to quickly point out, we do also look to connect with, we do a lot of outreach and look to connect with candidates and legislators that are interested in using our technology as a way to hear from their voters to inform their voting. So like Rep. Escamani, State Senator Carlos Guillermo Smith, Rep. Kelly Skidmore, and Rita Harris are some currently serving in the legislature. And then Representative Tom Keene was our first political endorsement. So, and then we have some candidates running. Up here at the top are some of our more recent candidates that are running for, they'll be on the ballot in 2026. So, and that will also take you to like their websites too, if you want to learn more about them. And then another feature on here, our media page. This is where you can view like different articles, podcasts, different things about Digital Democracy Project. Our founder did a TEDx talk. So if you want to learn more about like his background, perspective, inspiration for starting Digital Democracy Project, that's definitely worth a watch. And then we do also do interviews. John's on the call. He's on our team. He'll interview different candidates, kind of give them a chance to talk about like why they're running, their policy priorities, and how this can be a useful resource for them. So that's another feature. And then I think we're going to hop over to how to vote. So if you're not already, the Votes app is what we use. It's VOATZ. And they're certified mobile voting technology. They've been used in like 150 elections for the last few years. And so we decided to use them because they're tested out, trusted technology. And John, are you able to admit that person that just popped up? Okay, awesome. Thank you. Yeah, so we use their technology because we also require a voter verification. We'll verify that you're a registered voter. And the reason we do that too, we want to make sure that we know these are real people. They are who they say they are. It'll help us pinpoint their votes into their district. And also so that we know we don't have any bots skewing the results. We don't have bad actors trying to misrepresent what the voters want or people voting 10 times. So that way legislators know they can trust the results and it carries more weight for the voters. So the results can't be discredited. So yeah, once you complete the verification process, it'll you'll get into the apps to where you're able to see all the federal bills. And if you're a Florida voter, all the Florida state bills for 2026. And you'll be able to vote on those. And I will say too, if you're in the Votes app already, I know there was an issue. Apple was doing some kind of update for the Votes app. So you might have to like upload or update the app in the App Store, and it should be working. Android should be fine. But then I'll also share on here a little more too. So the web app is also another option to create your account and to vote. So, and that wasn't affected by the Apple App Store because this is Votes' separate web portal. So I'm already verified. So all I have to do in here is put in my email, my phone number, and it'll send me a code. And then it'll pull up all the bills and I'm able to submit my votes. So let me go ahead and try this while I'm on here. If this will load my email. So 951. So this will pull up, just to give you an idea what it looks like. It'll pull up all the federal bills and the Florida bills will be mixed in here. And then we're updating now too to where the bills will be posted individually. So you'll be able to see the title of the bill. But if you go back to the previous ones, some of them will be in here as the date that we submitted the bill. So you can see the federal bills or the Florida bills. And then, yeah, you can view the results in the app too after you voted. And then if you haven't voted, they'll show up like this. So we just recently loaded some bills, and then we'll be getting those added to the website. So we've been testing some things out too. So let me hop back over to the website. And if anyone has any issues, let me try to reload this. If anyone has any issues getting into the app, let me know and I can kind of help you through that. Let's see here. So I think we'll go ahead and get into some of the bills. And actually, let me pause here too. If anyone has any questions, if you want to hop off mute or drop anything in the chat, I want to give you time to ask questions. And then we'll keep an eye on the chat too. All right, John looks like he has a question. Yeah, go ahead.
It's not really a question. I just wanted to mention that when you use your information to be verified on the voter registry, we delete your information just so there's no possibility that people could like hack your stuff or get the information from us, because we give you a unique token on the blockchain to say that you've been verified, and then we don't need your data anymore.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, we do get asked a lot about that. So yeah, that's why we went with Votes, because they're tested out for security is their top priority. So they've been shown to be able to protect people's info. And then yeah, once you get verified, then all your info gets deleted. And then from then on out, you're anonymous, and it just shows like the overall results for how voters overall are voting. So it's actually a secret ballot. We don't even know how individual voters are voting on the bills.
And we don't know what party you're affiliated with. We don't check anything like that.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, all we know is that you're a verified voter and then which district you're in. So I'll hop into some of these bills. So October was when we started loading bills for this session in the committee weeks. And I know we kind of touched on this one. So just to quickly give you some details. Yeah, this one basically protects employees who report violations or unethical behavior to the Commission on Ethics. And allows people to file complaints, ensures protection. So yeah, that's one of the bills in there. And yeah, we already went over the results for that one. That's a really popular bill. And let me actually switch over to the bills view page so we can see the organizations that support and oppose, which last time I looked, there were not any for that one. Let's see. Yeah, this one does not have any orgs on here. All right, so we'll hop into the next one. Yeah, we touched on the state birds one, and there were a couple orgs in here. So that one is just to designate the American flamingo as Florida's official state bird and the Florida scrub jay as the official state songbird, replacing the mockingbird. So that one I know has come up in previous sessions. So we'll see if that one gets passed this session. And then, yeah, that one was more evenly split, 52% support. And a couple orgs had opinions on that one. And let's see.
I want to know why organizations didn't support it. Why were they opposed to it? I'm curious what their rationale was.
Yeah, that is a good question.
The Unified Sportsmen of Florida
NRA.
and the NRA did not want flamingos. Maybe because you can't hunt flamingos?
Maybe.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, we'll test VoteBot out here and see. And it takes like a second or so, but you can usually like navigate through the page while you're waiting to see. And then I forgot to mention too, I'll show on here, you can also select these organizations, a newer feature now where it'll pull up more info about the organization, policy goals, funding. And then you can see like the stances, the other bills that they took stances on, and it'll take you to their website too if you want to know more, look more into the organizations. So, all right, let's see.
It may not be able to get the information. VoteBot's an awesome tool, but I wonder if it can even pull the information of like what their rationale was. Because they would have had to have posted on their site or had some data to be able to scrape.
Yeah, usually, like since they showed up as an organization taking a stance, then usually they'll like wherever that source was where it'll pull from.
I see.
Which I don't know if it's because I reloaded the page. Let me try this again. So we'll let VoteBot work on that. We'll see if he gives us a response. It should kind of save our chat. So yeah, I'll keep things moving. So the next bill was sale and purchase of ivermectin. So that one basically just allowing ivermectin to be sold and bought as an over-the-counter drug in Florida without needing a prescription. All right, VoteBot gave us quite a few details here. So let's see. Opposition to this bill has come from NRA. Not detailed, and the available sources. It is possible these groups prefer to maintain the Northern Mockingbird, perhaps due to its long-standing status and the cultural historical significance. Environmental conservation. So yeah, that one, it looks like it came through. Yeah, it just took a while. So yeah, that one did not have much detail about that one. But yeah, VoteBot you can continue to ask different questions about it. It'll give you a bunch of different.
You should ask it something about ivermectin. You know, VoteBot's actually a really cool tool. It's one of the reasons it takes so long though is didn't Ramon design it so that it would like double check itself with like a second AI?
Yeah.
It's not just spitting out the first thing that it thinks. It goes through another process to verify the answer.
Yeah, our founder Ramon has a background in AI, so he kind of makes these have like double checks to make sure it's providing reliable info. I know like with the organizational stances, it'll make sure that the organization has taken a specific stance on that bill. So there's like a check to see if it's mentioned the bill, and then another check to see if they've taken a stance. And then I do like too that VoteBot this one didn't have too many details, but if it does have like a specific answer, it'll give you the source for where it came from. Ivermectin medication, certain parasitic infections in humans. So yeah, it's got plenty of info about that, for example. And this one, I think there were a couple organizations opposed that one. And let's see where the voters are on this one. We got 67% opposed, 21% support. So yeah, and then I'll just highlight again here too. There's the open states plural, so you can see like the sponsors, the co-sponsors on that bill. And then yeah, these actions and votes will be updating as bills start moving, because session starts, I think it's the 13th of January. So we're putting these bills in there early so voters can start weighing in, but things won't start moving until in January. And another bill we have recognizing Judea and Samaria. So this one establishes that the areas known as Judea and Samaria, let me get Bobot out of the way, annexed by Israel from Jordan in the Six-Day War should not be referred to as the West Bank, and official Florida government materials prohibits state agencies from using this term and restricts funding for materials that do. So yeah, that one's kind of more about like the conflict between Israel and Palestine. I know I had asked some questions about that one in the bills about it said that the sponsor like filed it because to show like support for Israel. So that is another question I like to ask too is like why was this bill filed? Like can you provide more background about this? So yeah, that's another
Yeah.
good example.
That's unusual. So basically, what he's saying is that he doesn't want anybody to call the West Bank, even though that's what everybody like colloquially knows it as.
Yeah, I guess it wants it to refer to it as Judea and Samaria. But yeah, it does acknowledge that like the rest of the world basically refers to it as the West Bank. So
And it restricts funding for materials that do refer to it as the West Bank. That's a
mhm.
really weird. That's a really weird. I don't know. It's some Gulf of America stuff.
Yeah. So let's see where the voters are. 80% oppose this one, 6% support. And yeah, a couple of organizations on there. One support, one oppose. All right. And then another bill, and that's set to removal, storage, and cleanup of electric vehicles. Oh, does someone have a question?
Yeah, Sadie, I'm curious who filed that bill
Yeah, let's check
and
that.
what are the organizations that are supporting it?
Yeah, let's do a little deeper dive. So it looks like we got a couple. Chase Tremont was the primary sponsor. Oh, and Deborah Tendrick. So we got a Democrat and Republican on as the primary sponsors, and then a few Republican co sponsors. And then as far as the orgs, we have Samaria Regional Council. So, yeah, here's some more info. I am not familiar with that organization, but yeah, there's some more info there. And then, yeah, if you want to look in more into,
Yeah, I'll look at it. I was just curious if any other, I mean, I'm with National Council of Jewish Women, so I was curious about what other Jewish organizations, if they were reining in at all.
oh,
That's
yeah.
interesting. So
My
what's
guess
your
is
opinion on the bill?
is that they won't.
Yeah, that's what we found so far, like just from like a web search. But I will say too, if organizations reach out to us, and same with anyone on this call too, if you're with an organization, if you want to take a stance on a bill, we can also manually add organizations into.
Yeah, we
What's your
don't take
opinion on
we
the
don't
bill?
take we don't take one on that one.
Okay.
Oh, you don't take a position?
We're staying away from it.
I see.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think there was another related bill that we carried, but I'll try to. Okay, maybe I will hop out of order. Yeah, I know Sharia and other foreign law was another one kind of related that I heard an organization was talking about both of those. Restricts the use of Sharia and other foreign laws in state legal proceedings, aims to protect parties from rulings or contracts that apply foreign law violating rights guaranteed by the U.S. and state constitutions, equal protection, freedom of religion. Yeah, I know that bill from what an organization relayed to us was that we already, like that's already the way things are. So it seemed like,
Yeah, seems redundant.
yeah, redundant. It's a good way to put it. And then, yeah, we got let's see. Oh, we got quite a few orgs that came out in opposition, and then a couple that support. And then the voters, oh, this one looks a little mixed. We got 44% support, 35% opposing. So that one's definitely a more mixed one.
So that's interesting. Was that go back down to the organizations? Was that it said National Council of Jewish Women. They're against the bill that makes it so that Sharia law can't be implemented through contracts. That's interesting.
I don't think is that what I submitted to you? Because I don't think we would have.
I think if you had submitted, I think I put Florida. So I feel like this was like a general search, which I think will add.
That's a federal bill, right?
No, this is a Florida state
That's a
bill.
Florida.
But I think this was like a federal organization, which I can do like a deep dive and kind of see which.
Yeah, because I might have put in the wrong bill number or something. Because I don't think we would take a stance one way or the other.
Yeah, I know typically if I'm supporting or submitting organizations, I'll put like Florida too. So I'll see if you're in here in any other bills. And then another one from that first set, we'll jump back in the order. This one was mandating counties and municipalities to set daily fees for storing electric vehicles involved in accidents with specific rules on storage safety, defines daily administration fee and proper storage standards that states that insurers aren't responsible for costs beyond their contracts. So yeah, that one I know I did a little deeper dive. I was asking VoteBot about. I guess it said about there's more like of a hazard or like fire risk with the electric vehicles. So that's the reasoning behind the fee for electric vehicles versus other vehicles. And no organizations took a stance on that. That was the one I expected some environmental organizations to have a stance, but not yet. And then we got 28% support from the voters, 54% opposition.
What do you think? So, what do you think an environmental group should vote on this bill, or what would you expect them to vote on this bill? Do you think they would oppose additional fees for electric vehicles?
So this one of the organizations mentioned it, but it wasn't specific enough for it to show up as a support or opposed. But I thought this one would be kind of one way or the other, because I guess like a fee would maybe, I guess, yeah, it gets around like cleaning up the environment, cleaning up for electric vehicles, but then it's also kind of, in a way, you could see it as like disincentivizing electric vehicles. So yeah, it's kind of like a mixed one. So I was curious to see, but maybe that's why
this is a tough one. Yeah.
Yeah, a little in between, I can see. And then another bill, we had use of substances affecting cognitive function. This was another interesting one. The bill mandates toxicology screenings for individuals suspected of mass shootings or violent crimes to check for psychotropic and illicit drugs. Requires medical examiners to document drug presence in autopsy reports, and calls for law enforcement officers and schools to receive training on the effects of these substances. So that one, let's see.
I'm surprised they don't do that anyways.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it looks like Florida now is one that opposed.
It's interesting that they oppose that. So they don't want toxicology screenings or toxicology reports done on autopsies of people suspected of mass shootings. I'm curious why.
Yeah, I think that was more so like who's determining like who, I guess, like is forced to undergo the screenings and such.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Florida now seems to be really focused on medical autonomy a lot, I think, too.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I guess like a potential risk of like privacy type of stuff might be
HIPAA laws, things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna keep it moving. I know
as a Florida Now member also, they are about body autonomy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's where it came from. That would make sense.
Which makes sense. I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then we got quite a few bills in here. So let's see. We're at treatment of inmates. So this one establishes rights for inmates, requiring correctional facilities to provide proper ventilation, adequate food during emergencies, and sufficient mealtime. And yeah, medical supplies, personal protective equipment. So I know that one probably came out of, I hear a lot about, of course, in Florida, the conditioning in jails. So that was kind of what came to mind for me. And then that one was another one. I was surprised that we didn't get any orgs that took a stance on that.
I don't see how anybody could be opposed to this.
Yeah, let's see where the voters are. So yeah, 93% support.
Good for them.
Yeah, not surprising. And then we got agreement among the states to elect the president by national popular vote.
Oh, interesting. So this is the interstate compact to
Yeah,
eliminate electoral college.
yeah. This is the Florida version, like the Florida state level to join the interstate compact. So yeah, for those that aren't very familiar, the National Popular Vote, I know the League of Women Voters, I think they're one of the orgs on this one. Yeah, they do a lot around this concept too. And then there's Floridians for a National Popular Vote. There's a whole organization that's focused on this issue. But yeah, proposes that states join a national agreement to elect the US president through a popular vote. Each state would conduct a popular vote and appoint electors pledged to the national popular vote winner. So yeah, in a way, abolishes the electoral college. And then I know like something I learned about it too. That way, you have like your swing states that a lot of presidents visit. But if we went by a national popular vote, it's from what I learned that more presidential candidates would visit more states. So I thought that was really interesting. And the voters on this one, 84% support, 13% oppose. And let's see. We got candidate qualification. The candidate qualification requires anyone running for office in Florida to be a registered political party member or non-affiliated for 365 days before the election. Mandates written confirmation of the status when declaring candidacy, allows court challenges if the conditions aren't met. So yeah, I know that one's around, I guess, like candidates switching parties kind of last minute, or different things around that, which I know on the last meeting someone brought up about elected officials switching parties, and this sounds like it only affects candidates, because I know, yeah, some elected officials have switched parties after being elected while in office. And this one, let's see, we got 46% support, 40% opposed. So that one's more split. It's interesting.
After the talk last week, I changed my mind on this one. I think I support the bill. I think you shouldn't be able to run as a Democrat or a Republican and then switch parties right after you get elected. I think that's probably not good.
Yeah, makes sense to me. I know. Yeah, I guess makes sense to be what's the word? Consistent with the voters.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I know there were a couple Charlie Kirk related bills. So Charlie Kirk Day of Remembrance establishes October 14th as Charlie Kirk Day of Remembrance in Florida, honoring Charlie Kirk for his advocacy, free speech, civic engagement, constitutional principles. So yeah, people are probably familiar with Charlie Kirk. And this one,
Was that the day that he died? October 14th?
I had asked, and I think it was his birthday.
That's better than the day he died. So
Yeah, I think that was like during the summer, if I remember. And then
Wow.
that one, yeah, that was a lot of opposition. Yeah, 96 opposed, 96%.
It's somewhere near Daytona Beach. Is that a different color? That one? Yeah.
Yeah, there's green there. So
Okay, I see. So the actual politicians there, one of them voted yes.
the voters, yeah, one voter voted yes, one voted no.
Oh, those were the voters. Okay, I see.
Yeah. And then let's see what we got next. We went over the Sharia and other foreign law. Yeah, and then sexual offenders and sexual predators. This bill imposes strict residency restrictions for sexual offenders, prohibiting them from living within 1,000 feet of schools, child care facilities, and other areas where children gather. Yeah, mandatory curfews. I think this one was something about, I thought it had something about bodies of water. So this one we got one org supporting, one opposing: Florida Recreation Park Association, Florida Action Committee. And then the voters were 36 support, 49% oppose. So more so split on that one. And then, yeah, if you guys want to come back on, you can always ask VoteBot some more questions, or if you want to look into these organizations, these events will be an hour. So I'm more so just trying to provide an overview, and then you guys can definitely encourage you to come in and dig into the details. And suits against the government increases the limits on state liability for tort claims and allows settlements without further legislative approval, ensures claims are governed by limits and effective when they occur, and revises related exceptions. Yeah, I know this was the one that I guess there's like a limit on how much victims, I guess, can get from the government, and this one would push that limit to where it can go however much is appropriate, was what I understood from the bill. And 42% support, 39% oppose. And I know this one, yeah, a couple organizations in here: Florida League of Cities, Florida Justice Association.
So, so what you're saying is this bill is not lowering the state's liability; it's raising the liability.
Yeah, if I remember right, that's what I got from VoteBot. I could be.
Interesting. That's not what I was getting from that language. It seemed to, that first sentence seemed to imply to me that it was like limiting their liability, like it was capping the amount you could sue for or something like that.
Yeah, I could be wrong, but I think that was what I had read before, that it was already limited and it was extending it. And then this one I know has gotten quite a bit of attention: civil liability for the wrongful death of an unborn child. This one I know is a repeat from at least last session, the one before. This one allows parents to claim damages for the wrongful death of their unborn child, except against the mother or healthcare providers in legal medical care. Defines survivors to include parents of the unborn children, and specifies the damages parents can recover. So I know this one was related to like IVF. There was concerns about that impacting the accessibility to IVF. So yeah, a couple organizations. Yeah, that was one that Florida Now's on as well, opposing. And then yeah, we got some supporting. And the voters are 20% support, 77% oppose.
So if the bill specifies that so it says claim damages from the wrongful death of their unborn child, except against the mother or healthcare providers in legal medical care. So I can understand why the organization, the doctors organization down there would, because they're going to contend over legal medical care. That's going to be the big point of contention. Can you sue a doctor if he was in some illegal medical care, I guess? But who else would you sue other than a doctor, I guess? Like, what's the point? I guess what I'm asking is, like, what's the point of the bill?
Yeah, I know it was something about like civil versus criminal, and then like for the person that gets the abortion would be at risk, from what I heard. Like if the other spouse was opposed to the abortion. I think that was my understanding.
I see.
Yeah, that's a good VoteBot one too.
So what if a woman had a miscarriage? Would a guy be able to say like she didn't eat the right food, or she was eating too much salt or something, and then sue her?
Yeah, I don't know about that one. That
seems like it opens up a can of worms that you don't want to open.
From what I understand, that bill opens up the way toward fetal personhood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Jeannie, it looks like you have a question, comment, if you want to share.
Yeah, that bill, my understanding, and I could be wrong, is the wording even opens it up that a victim of rape, if she got an abortion, could be sued by her rapist.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about that one. yeah, thanks for adding those comments in. All right, and yeah, if you haven't already, definitely get your votes in on these bills too. They'll continue updating throughout session. And then we got about 10 minutes left, so I'll probably try to pick up the pace, just give you guys an idea what else is in here. But yeah, if you have questions, definitely come off mute. So recovery of damages for medical negligence resulting in death, changes Florida law, who can get compensation when someone dies due to medical negligence, removes limits on who can claim damages. And yeah, we got Florida Now supporting that one. A couple organizations, looks like medical organizations opposing. So that's an interesting one too.
I know that they would always want to limit, malpractice claims and things like that. I guess it makes sense, but I wonder what the changes are. I don't feel like that wording is specific enough. So, the bill changes Florida law about who can get compensation. Does it make it so that more people can or less people can? It's a little unclear.
Yeah, that might be a vote bot question too. I think there was one about like certain youth. I think that one, there was some kind of special example that was coming out as a response to. All right, and then public records, municipal clerks. Yeah, that one was about protecting personal info of clerks, judges, types of staff like that. And that one had, some organizations supporting, lots of cities.
A lot of cities, yeah. What did the people think about this one?
We got 72% support, 22% oppose. Interesting.
I could see not putting in their addresses. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, I can see that. And then I know a bunch of these are very new, so I don't think we have too many votes on these because we just posted these last night. So patriotic displays in classrooms. This one was really interesting. Requires schools in Florida to display portraits of George Washington and Abraham Lincoln in certain classrooms. And yeah, different grades. Okay. And then, I think these are still updating in our system because, there weren't many votes that had been cast already. So these are brand new bills. So we'll definitely be getting a lot more votes on those. And I'll pick up the pace a little bit, just touch on these since we don't have too many results in yet. Drug paraphernalia. This one I thought was a typo, but I guess not. Amends the definition, excluding certain drug testing products like test strips and reagent kits from this category. So I guess right now those are considered drug paraphernalia, the testing kits, but this would make it to where those are no longer considered paraphernalia. And we got one organization supporting. And then we have, this one was interesting too, trust funds. Let's see. Trust funds, tariffs result in untimely money problems. There's a acronym in there if you're not catching that one. Let's see. Trust fund to address economic impacts from tariffs on construction materials due to increased cost for imported materials. And $500 million, which my first question was, where does this funding come from? And it said it was from the general revenue. So Florida Senate Democratic Caucus supports. That was an interesting one. And then I know this one's a repeat, the protection of historic monuments and memorials. This one's another preemption bill preventing the local governments from being able to remove damage or prevent the removal, damage, or destruction of historic monuments across Florida. Preempting local ordinances. And that one got Florida Now oppose, SPLC oppose. A couple organizations on that one. And this was another interesting one I thought. I hadn't heard of this before. Allowing high school students in Florida who are registered or pre-registered to vote to volunteer at polling locations and help poll workers. Grants them community service hours, which made me think of the League of Women Voters. Seems like something that I know they do a lot of poll workers, staffing polling locations. And then, yeah, I'm gonna maybe, where are we at on time? Maybe jump through these really quick. So the state reapportionment, I know that one was one kind of proposing a response to the gerrymandering, about redistricting independent commissions for, yeah, congressional districts. So, yeah, that was another newer one because there's a lot of attention on the redistricting going on. And yeah, Florida sounds like they're in the process of redistricting. So that would be like a alternative, I guess, to what we're doing right now. And political activity on public institutions of higher education. Yeah, create policies, allow fair participation in political activities, promotes debates and discussions while ensuring equal access to all political parties. I think the main one I noticed here was, it also says employees can't engage in political activity. Political groups must, yeah, while working, political groups must register events in advance. So, yeah, it just seems like sometimes maybe like a protest or something would happen, I guess, organically, but looks like it would require like permission. Health and Human Services. This one was, yeah, some kind of healthcare bill, improving access to healthcare and social services for citizens. And yeah, I'll let you guys look through those. That was one that just recently got loaded. And drug prices and coverage. We had blue ribbon projects, public, recreational, civilian, contractors, and government employees, government waste and misconduct, initiating a property insurance, interstate compact, that one was interesting, and affordable housing. I know these last couple I thought were interesting. Yeah, aims to reduce state waste by having a group investigate misuse of funds across various programs, highlight fraud and inefficiencies in spending, helping recover funds. Let's see if there's any organizations. Florida House Democratic Caucus, Senate Democratic Caucus. And then I thought this one was interesting too. I know property insurance, a hot topic in Florida, aims to create an agreement between states to form a national risk pool for property insurance against natural disasters. Helps reduce financial risk by spreading cost across multiple states. And that one does not
That's
have.
interesting. So, like, what you would be doing then would be creating a national flood insurance program across 14 states that also have, I guess, high risk flood areas.
I don't. Did it specify floods? I kind of just figured it was.
I
Yeah.
presume. I mean, Florida's going to be. I think that's what floods and hurricanes are. What you guys are the most worried about, right?
Yeah, or yeah, floods, hurricanes. So yeah,
And I
that
think-
is interesting. Like if it would only be one type of insurance, or just sounds like general property insurance, so whatever damage.
So it's against natural disasters, and it requires the commissioner to establish this compact with at least 14 other states. So what if the 14 other states don't agree? Is the insurance commissioner in violation of the law then? I don't.
It sounds like it doesn't take effect unless there's buy-in from 14 states. And that might be another one to go through Ask VoteBot about. But yeah, it looks like we're at 8 o'clock, so I can definitely hang on if people have questions or comments, if anyone wants to share any thoughts. And I do want to
I'll
say
keep you here
too-
all night. Be
I do
careful
want to
about
say
making promises.
too, if you guys are with an organization too, we're always looking to get more voters engaged, staying informed. So we do a lot of presentations to different groups. If you guys, even yourselves, have bills that you're interested in us posting, then if you can relay those to us, if you have a stance that your organization wants to take, you can relay those to us too. So we're all about just providing this as a free resource for voters, for legislators, candidates, and organizations. And trying to improve how representative our government is and give voters more of a say. So I'll send a follow-up email too, and then we'll have these ongoing. This will be our last one for this month for December, and then think it's the 6th was when I scheduled the next one. So then we'll have 2 of them or so right before session starts. So if you know anyone else that might be interested, they can definitely join again. If you want to share the invite, you guys can join again because we'll continue updating on the newer bills too. So yeah, I'll send that follow-up email, and we do have a Slack channel too. If you guys aren't familiar, it's like a messaging way for you to stay in touch with our team with different events, and then it's a good way to relay bills to us too. So I'll send all that info in a follow-up email and a link to the recording too. But let me hop back into the meeting room. Does anyone have any thoughts, questions, anything they want to share?
I was just going to comment that you should tell people like how fun it is to like do the votes thing, and like it's really voter engagement, and it's really, I mean, I did, and I was like, oh, this is fun. Like I'm weird, but like, you know, it was fun.
Yeah, we're just unusual people.
Yeah, I mean, for the people like us that are like into that, like it's fun, you know, like.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
good.
it's just, you know, like, I don't know.
Most
I don't know
people
how you market it or whatever. Like, you know, yeah, this might seem dull, but no, it's not.
Yeah, but their eyes glaze over when I try to tell them that, and then they call me a dork when I tell them it's fun.
I think a lot of people don't really, I think it seems like more foreign or like hard to understand. So yeah, there are a lot of interesting bills that I think people would be more interested if they were aware. Do organizations,
yeah,
go through you to sign up? So that is a great question. So any voters able to go, and actually let me pull this back up because I know we did have some people hop on a little later. So our vote page right here will show you how to get into either the Votes mobile app, or you can sign up in the web browser, the Votes web app. So any voter can go on at any time, download the app or sign up through the web app. And I did mention too, I know Apple was doing an update to the Votes app. So you might either have to update your app if you're already in there, or if there's an issue, the web app I know was not affected. So yeah, let me actually drop this link in the chat. So that's where anyone can go on there to sign up. And then if you're with an organization, you can reach out and we can do a presentation directly to your group, or if you have organization or stances you want to take on bills as your organization, then you can relay those to us, and we can also manually add them if they didn't pop up automatically. Yeah, thank you for asking. And then, yeah, I'll send a follow-up email so you all have my email address and phone number on there too. All right. And I don't know if you guys, the ones that join later, if you're familiar, I'll also be sending a recording. But if you have any questions, I can hang out too. So let me know if you have anything else you'd like to share. If not, then thank you guys so much for joining. And yeah, definitely feel free to join another event and check out our website. And then again, yeah, if you have issues getting into the app or signing up, definitely let me know. We want to help everyone be able to get on there and add their votes in. Yeah, thank you too. All right. All right, looks like we got
a call tomorrow.
Lots in here. Yeah, I could have mentioned that too. If you're interested in federal bills, we do have our nationwide legislative forum tomorrow evening. So maybe I'll try to include that in the follow-up email too, but it'll be at 7 o'clock tomorrow. We'll focus on the federal bills though, so it won't be any of these Florida state bills. And those will be ongoing monthly events as well. So yeah, definitely feel free to join again tomorrow if you'd like, or next month, whichever.